Hey, my name is PON and welcome to Masonic Ink on Craftsman Online. Hey everyone, let me welcome you again to Masonic Ink on Craftsman Online. For some of you who may have clicked the link that came directly here and don't know exactly what Craftsman Online is, let me run it down for you real quick. It's a monthly spotlight on Masonic brothers and their crafts, their businesses, and general connections Masonically. We also feature historical lectures and general Masonic knowledge. We're not just for Masons. Everyone is more than welcome to look through the website and get a general understanding of the brothers who make up Masonry. My name is PON, and I felt like it was a good idea to start with myself with these segments so you guys can learn who the editor is and what I'm about. I'm a tattooer of 21 years. I started in Queens, New York. I'm also a New York Freemason. I'm a member of Advanced Service Mitzvah Lodge, number 586 in the Queens District under the Grand Lodge of New York State, where I currently sit as the Junior Warden. Throughout the tattoo industry, I'm primarily known for my traditional tattooing, which consists of bold lines, rich black, and solid color. But growing up in a New York street shop, you had to be able to handle any style that came your way. I'm also well versed in black and gray, fine line, new school, anime, but what I really want to do is more Masonic Ink. I'm also featured on season 12 of Paramount Network's Ink Master. Also, Ink Master Grudge Match Season 1.
If it isn't the old one-trick pond, you ready to finally nut up or shut up?
Ooh, it's hard to try and save someone who doesn't want to be saved.
I can handle my shit.
Let's see if you can handle it today.
If Cam got to challenge everyone he had a grudge with, it would be a group challenge. For Cam.
I came up in this business at a time where it wasn't so pleasant or mainstream. You didn't just walk into a tattoo shop and get handed an apprenticeship. People were less likely to help you out, and everything was kept more of a secret. It was still a very taboo thing, had just become legal in New York City. People were not very friendly in the tattoo industry. You know, it still had this allure about it where, you know, bikers and criminals, but it couldn't be farther from the truth. Like, a lot of my best friends in the world are through tattooing, and they're some of the nicest people in the world. And what you come later down the line in Masonic Ink is find that quite a bit of them are actually Freemasons and do a lot of charitable work. Now, my tattoo lineage goes all the way back to the first electric tattooer, Samuel O'Reilly. I learned off a guy who learned off a guy who learned off of two guys and their father and so on and so forth. I really love that I have this connection to the beginning of tattooing. And for me, that's one of the things that brought me to Freemasonry too, is that I can have this connection throughout history. Another thing is I'm a big fan of tradition. You know, I'm a traditional tattooer. I do things the traditional way in my tattooing. I love traditional crafts. I love woodworking, metalworking. I love working with my hands. And to me, that was one of the coolest things about Freemasonry as well as tattooing, is that, wow, there is this tradition to it. Like, I'm learning the same things that people throughout history have learned about Freemasonry. I'm learning the same things about tattooing that people throughout history have learned about tattooing. And to me, there's nothing better. Like, I love that connection. I love that I'm connected to all these people. And I love that's a part of my history, and it's a part of American history, it's a part of New York history. And the fact that I could go to the Grand Lodge of New York and see, you know, historical things that go all the way back to George Washington is like so cool to me, you know? I wish I could tattoo George Washington. That'd be kind of cool. What do you think he'd get? I don't know. Now, growing up in an Italian-American household, I never experienced any tattoos or anything in that culture. No one had them, no one spoke about them. So my first experience with tattooing was when I watched Cheech Marin's Born in East LA. That movie changed it all for me, because growing up as an artist, I always drew all over everything in my house. Like, you could say I was a little graffiti artist even from back then. And I remember watching this one scene where Cheech Marin was in Mexican prison and he's tattooing on a guy, and I was just like, wow, I did not know you could do that. So to me, it was like a whole new world. Like, from then on, I was drawing on not just like my desk or, you know, my papers. I was drawing on my family, my little brother, who was just, he's 6 years younger than me, so he was just born, I was drawing on him. And my whole life, I've just been like buying tattoo magazines. Every part of my career, I set another goal for myself. And I just like started with wanting to be in magazines, and I did that. Then I wanted to start winning awards. I accomplished that. I wanted to travel, go around the world doing tattoos. You know, I did that. And it's just setting those tiny goals for myself that really helped me get to the point where I was like, I'm gonna be on the TV show Ink Master. So I like to do that with everything in my life, and Masonry is no different. I like to joke around and talk about the butterfly effect of tattooing, and how, you know, maybe I did a tattoo on someone that led them to talk to another person who maybe introduced them to their wives, you know? Like, I think it's kind of cool that I'm leaving this lasting mark on someone that may or may not have changed their life, you know, and or just like honoring someone that they cared for, or, you know, any number of things. One of the things I'm excited to see going forward, Masonic Ink, is how people have Masonic tattoos and how those have changed their lives. Perhaps they met a brother who wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't have met, you know, like there was an article last month about how a brother met someone at a bar and noticed their tattoos. So it's these little connections that I love, and I want to hopefully connect with my audience. I hope I connect with you, and I hope I can do justice by all the people who came before me. One of the things I love about Masonry, like over the centuries, like nothing has changed. Like, I'm still taught the same things that the forefathers are taught, like that George Washington was taught, and the people that came before him. And it's that connection that makes me love it so much. I love the fact that I'm still doing the same things in tattooing that the first guy was doing. Like, you know, it's like I have an obligation, not only to myself as a tattoo artist, but to the people who came before me. And to me, that's so important. And I can't let myself, my family, or the people who came before me down. And just like Masonry, I have an obligation to my brothers and the brothers who came before me to make sure that Masonry lives on, and I leave it better than when I came in. And that's what I'm hoping to do with Masonic Ink. I want to show people that there's more to Masonry than just a couple old guys sitting in a room going harumph, 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 you know, shaking their fists. I want people to see that in Masonry, there's people like myself, there's younger people, there's people of all walks of life. And I think that's what's so cool about Craftsman Online, is that showcasing all these brothers, their hobbies, and the crafts that they do will maybe help people who aren't Masons make a connection and be like, hey, these guys are just like me. And maybe if I can inspire one person to become a Mason, or even just do better in their tattooing, that made that greater goal.